To this now, state witness Tumelo Madlala has insisted in the North Gauteng High Court that one of the accused in the Senzo Meyiwa murder trial, Bongani Ntanzi, was one of the intruders who entered Kelly Khumalo's mother's house in Vosloorus in 2014. Madlala was reportedly one of the people present when the soccer star was shot and killed. 5 men are on trial for the murder, and Madlala is adamant that Ntanzi was there that night. Defense lawyer Meyiwa has asked Madlala during cross-examination why he never identified Ntanzi as one of the intruders during identity parades or pictures before the trial started. Now, Tumelo Madlala also says he does not know who shot and killed his friend and soccer star Senzo Meyiwa. Madlala, who was facing cross-examination in the High Court in Pretoria, also dismissed the defence's assertion that there were no intruders inside the house on that night. He also faced a barrage of questions relating to his pointing out of accused number 2, Bongani Ntanzi, which the defense says is a case of mistaken identity. Ntanzi and 4 other men are currently on trial for this 2014 murder. And Criselda, of course, joins us live now to give us an update. Now, Criselda, Madlala was grilled on why he never told police about the seriousness of Ntanzi.
Oh, that's right. He was grilled on why he didn't give descriptions there, Bongiwe, of the second suspect, but pointed out accused number 2, Bongani Ntanzi. You would recall that was inside court, and this is 9 years after the tragedy. Let's take a listen to what was said there.
When you made your first police interview regarding this matter, either at the house on the 26th upon your return from hospital or on the 27th when you made the statement, you did not give the police officers any description of the facial features of the second suspect, correct?
It is so, yes.
So Bongiwe, during proceedings, Ntanzi even invited Madlala to get a closer view of him while he sat in the dock. However, Madlala declined that and, basically said that he was not prepared to have a closer glance at accused number 2. So Meyiwa's longtime friend then became visibly annoyed when Meyiwa had put it to him that there were no intruders inside that house. Let's take a listen.
I will put to you that there were no intruders that entered that house on the 26th of October 2014 that shot and killed Senzo Meyiwa.
If that is what you are saying, then you've got the answer as to who actually did it. Because at this point, you are saying, or at this point in time, you are saying that there are no intruders that had access to the house. Now, tell me now, whatever you are saying, it doesn't exist. All that you are saying, it's lies. Look, I apologize if it sounds as though I am being disrespectful, but I don't have time to play. Now, whatever that you are saying, you are privy to saying it because you are on the side of the people that you are defending. I would also wish to receive that information pertaining to the fact or to the allegations that I am lying, that you should substantiate that. And what would be the reason for me to lie?
All right, so Madlala was also unable to say, Bongiwe, if Meyiwa was conscious when he was transported to hospital. Previous witnesses, Zandi Khumalo and Mthokozisi Twala, you would recall, testified that he was gasping. Now, this is at the time that he was taken from inside the house and put inside the vehicle in which Kelly Khumalo, which these witnesses have said, drove quite fast to the hospital. Let's take a listen.
Now, when you loaded Senzo Meyiwa in the car, was he conscious at the time?
I cannot explain that part of the occurrence. What I remember is that he was heavy.
Madlala also denies that Zandi Khumalo's version, where she said that she had pulled Meyiwa into the vehicle while loading him to be transported to the hospital. Madlala is basically giving another version and says it's simply impossible. Let's take a listen.
Zandi Khumalo has testified about this aspect as follows, that in fact she's the one that got into the car through the front passenger seat got at the back and pulled Senzo into the car. What's your comment on that?
Even if that could have been the truth from the statement of Zandi Khumalo, she would not have been able to can pull that person as heavy as Senzo. She wouldn't.
So then Madlala was accused of being part of a case of a mistaken identity. He had basically said Meyiwa had tussled with the second intruder. While you'd recall, Bongiwe, that Zandi Khumalo and Mthokozi Sithwala had basically testified in court that Meyiwa had a scuffle with the first intruder who was carrying a gun.
Would it not have been a dreadful error of a mistaken identity on your part that the person who you saw being in tussle with Senzo, wherein you came to assist, was accused number 2?
I will never make a mistake, Mr. Mnisi. I will never just go and, point a person who's not the real culprit. This is the person. I have never made that mistake.
So Madlala also interestingly there, Bongiwe, denying that he had come to Johannesburg for Senzo's lobola negotiations. You would recall that this was the version that was put to the court by Zandi Khumalo. That's when she was on the stand, basically saying that Tumelo Madlala was here to be part of that contingent that was to start the lobola negotiations for Kelly Khumalo. This is also something that was denied by Mthokozi Sithwala. You would know that Mthokozi Sithwala as well as Tumelo Madlala are considered to have been some of the best friends of Senzo Meyiwa, and they say there's absolutely no such, and they don't agree with what Zandi Khumalo had told the court. So the trial, of course, resuming on Thursday. We're expecting cross-examination to continue, and Tumelo Madlala, of course, will be cross-examined. He's back on the stand.
And it'll be interesting to see what comes out of this one as well. Criselda, that is Criselda Lewis, our reporter, following that trial very closely.